This is the Nintendo Switch 2, one of the most controversial consoles of this year, and boy do I have some thoughts. What's up guys, it's Jay's Take. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing my Switch 2 2-month review. There's a lot of good to this console. First one being that hardware wise, this is a very premium handheld, especially compared to last generation. It's mostly plastic, except the OLED. The OLED had a little bit more premium feel to it, but this one has a completely metal body, matte black finish, has a little bit of a white sparkle texture sheen thing going on. I think it's really cool. I think it looks good. Needless to say, Nintendo did not cut any corners with this console in terms of the build quality. Usually with more power, you need a chunkier device. They have managed to keep this device the exact same thickness as it was in 2017, while at the same time making it roughly 10 times more powerful than the predecessor was graphics wise. The 1080p screen is actually really nice. I think it's sharp and it looks super good, gets bright enough for me, and the LCD actually has pretty good color contrast. I think it's comparable to an OLED in terms of vibrancy. The main differences you're gonna see is when there's black things on the screen. Pause. Super mega pause. The main difference that you're gonna see is when obviously the black pixels, you can't really compete with OLED there. It's just gonna be way darker. But in terms of color vibrancy, I have no complaints. I think it's actually really good. Moving on to the Joy-Cons themselves, they're bigger, they're more comfortable, and they're more functional than ever with the mouse controls, in addition to the motion controls, regular control, and haptic vibrations. All of those are slam dunk in my book. Honestly, they may be some of my favorite controllers ever if it wasn't for the fact that they're still flat. I get why they had to make it flat. It just kind of sucks because it's so uncomfortable to hold, but let's stay on the good stuff. Big games are coming. Cyberpunk was already released. The Duskbloods and Elden Ring are to be determined when they will be coming out. We got Donkey Kong Bonanza as well as Mario Kart World, and we're getting Borderlands 4 later this year. I know there's a couple other Ubisoft titles coming out. I could really care less for those, to be honest. DK Bonanza, I have had so much fun with that game. Best console exclusive so far on the Nintendo Switch 2. Sorry Mario Kart World, you were good at first, but the updates kind of killed you. Now moving on to the bad of the console, which a lot of y'all are honestly probably here for. The console, like I said, is still very uncomfortable to hold without a case. I actually have the D-brand Kill Switch grip case on here. I have mixed feelings about it. It definitely makes the console more easier to hold, but it comes with its own cons. And although the Switch does feel nice to hold in your hand without a case because of the all metal finish, it is so uncomfortable that I almost kind of hate holding it without a case. It's very uncomfortable, just like the original Switch. Not much has changed there. The battery life is pretty lacking with certain games. Mario Kart World is probably the worst culprit that I found so far. I don't know what it is about that game, but it drains the battery crazy. I've also played No Man's Sky on it, DK Bonanza a lot. I find that DK Bonanza is probably the most optimized battery wise. I could play that game for quite a while before I have to even worry about the battery, but the other two, along with Fortnite, are just way too draining on the system to have a more than, I'd say, 2-hour play session if that's what you're looking for. Even if you're not playing 2 hours straight, you know, breaking it up, you're gonna charge this thing more often than you'd probably like to. And another weird thing that I found with this system is that some games and some apps just don't work for whatever reason. The YouTube app, I can't get it working on the Switch 2. I used to love watching YouTube on my Switch. Nier Automata is one of the few games that I found that don't work on the Switch 2, which is honestly a little disappointing because I was really looking forward to doing a playthrough on that game. So I might just have to try it on another console, which sucks. I don't know why it's not working or available on the Switch 2 shop, but it's just not. And I'm pretty sure there's other games on there as well that don't work that should work with no issue. A lot of games that are available on the Switch 2 actually don't take advantage of its power. I was playing Red Dead Redemption 1 the other day, and it's obvious that that game is still running on 30 FPS from what I believe and 720p. So where are the 60 FPS and 120 FPS games that Nintendo has advertised? I might have took the bait on that one, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I might have taken the bait.
Embarrassing.
It's just kind of annoying that a game from 2010 is still running at 30 FPS on modern hardware, where on other platforms you wouldn't have that same experience. They did a good job innovating at what a mouse could do for gaming. Little things like haptics in the mouse. We get rotation, seamless switching between the actual mouse controls and motion controls without ever going into settings. We get dual mouse controls, so you could use two mice at the same time for games like Drag X Drive and whatever else they come up with ideas for. I think those are really cool, innovative ideas that I can't wait to see get expanded on. It's just at this time, there's barely any games that actually take advantage of the mouse controls in a meaningful way. At the moment, it's cool to just, use it for like FPS, and that's great and all. I also would like to see what type of cool new ideas and fresh ideas that they could come up with these features. It's still in its infancy. These are the things that I honestly dislike and I'm most disappointed by. One of the main things being is after you finish experiencing Donkey Kong Bonanza and after you finish experiencing whatever Mario Kart World has to offer, it kind of leaves you wondering what to play next.
Just like me. Empty inside.
It often feels like how it felt to own the original Switch. You play Zelda and you play Mario Odyssey and you kind of sit there and you're like, yeah, that was fun, but like what else do I have to play? And it's really jarring. I'm actually starting to worry that this thing is going to end up in a drawer, not touched for months once I 100% DK, unless they like pull up some crazy like new game or like just start porting some good stuff on there. And I was holding out on making this review specifically because I wanted to see what Nintendo had up their sleeves for their two upcoming directs. They did two directs last month, one regular and one indie world, and it looks like all they had up their sleeves was just disappointment. Honestly, don't have much to look forward to with this console at this moment, just based off those two directs, besides content warning, and that one looks fun, but everything else that was mentioned in that direct looked pretty mid, and it's weird. I expected them to drop bombs the whole direct, like, oh, by the way, this game's coming, oh, by the way, Red Dead Redemption 2, stuff like that. But instead we're getting farming simulators and 2.5 HD side scroller, cool and all, but this is the next generation. Those games would have worked fine on the Switch 1. Why are we making these games like the forefront for the Switch 2? That's kind of weird and honestly kind of worries me. What was Nintendo doing all this time? And then to make matters worse, you kind of just look on their store. I'm eager to buy something. Like, I just want to play something on my Switch. You look in their store and there's not many options worth purchasing. Just a bunch of shovelware, e-slop, hentai games, stuff like that. AAA games are few and far between, as well as some good indie games. Games like Balatro, Undertale. Those are great games, but they just come every so often, and those are already available on so many other platforms. The type of stuff that I was hoping to see on here were games like Repo and Peak and Lethal Company. Now that they have mouse controls, I was hoping that they would capitalize on that and actually port those games over to the Switch. And as of right now, there's just no news for it. I know those are like pipe dreams, but it kind of just makes sense, especially with the demographic of people that like the Switch and people that would play those types of games, especially with the new Nintendo chat system and all that. Like, I just feel like that'd be a great fit, but that just looks like something that's not happening. Content warning gives me hope because that is the first game to be ported, kind of like the games that I just mentioned. But other than that, it's hush. There's no news on anything else. I think hands down the best thing about the Switch 2 is the way that this console brings people together in ways that I don't see PlayStation or Xbox or PC really bringing other people together. It's so much more fun to play games next to somebody, like on a couch or just sitting next to each other and like actually being there IRL with them. And I almost feel like most of their games are kind of designed around that idea that you're going to be playing with somebody else in the same exact room as you, as opposed to playing a game in your room by yourself in a dark corner on Discord. In my experience, people are always excited to play the Switch. Even if they're not gamers, they are still able to have fun because these games are so easy to pick up, whether it's Smash Bros, Mario Party, or even DK Bonanza. That game even has a co-op mode too. It's light, but it's there. I can't think of another console that has a library meant for connecting with the people around you. And I think that is what makes the Switch so special, because it's a home console, but you take it out and you're always able to have a co-op experience no matter where you are, because the console has 2 controllers attached to the side of it. So you're always ready for, say you're on a plane with your girlfriend or something, and you're bored because you're on a plane. You have 2 controllers to play Mario Kart or Smash Bros or something. I don't think there's any other console like that. I mean, you could definitely pull out a PC and 2 controllers and like pair them and shit like that, but it's just not as seamless as it would be with the Switch 2. So that's definitely the strongest point for the Switch 2. I just wish that there was more things to do on it, more games and more experiences to have, and more games that actually took advantage of the features that make this console different from its predecessor. There's still a lot of potential, but as it is right now, it kind of sucks to be an early adopter, because the technology and the potential is there, but the content is not. The Switch 2, it's kind of not even relevant at this point anymore, but just to get it out there, because I know somebody's going to comment this. There's a whole narrative going around that I've addressed many times on this channel, that every single Switch 2 game is $80. That is absolutely not true. It's literally only Mario Kart World. I could go on the eShop right now and just scroll and scroll and scroll, and you will literally only see one $80 game, and that will be Mario Kart World. Everything else is priced normally $60, $70, $50, $30. Any games are priced regularly. There's sales all the time. You just got to wish list things and keep an eye out for it, just like you have to on any other platform. I don't know how that misconception got so big, but it's not true. As you can see, I'm showing you video proof that it's not true. If you're gonna comment that at this point, then I don't know what's wrong with you. I also have not got banned just for using my console yet. Can you guys believe that? Everybody was telling me I was gonna get banned for just using my console. I am happy to report, after 2.5 months, I have still not been banned, but gotta stay on my toes, because it might happen at any moment. In short, this is a great console hardware wise. I don't see anywhere else where you can get this kind of performance in such a small form factor. Second controller always ready to go for couch co-op or wherever it may be. Ultimately, this console is greatly weakened by its library and lack of a strong launch lineup. And like I said, it makes me feel like I bought this thing a little bit too early. I'm not sure what Nintendo was doing in those like 4 or 5 years, because I've been following Nintendo Switch 2 rumors for a very long time, and from what it seems, they wanted to make this launch perfect, but it seems very troubled. I don't know what their excuse is. I would have thought they'd been dropping bombs month after month, just boom, 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 but they're not. And it's like, why? Because all the leaks, all the rumors, they were pointing to such a great second generation of the Switch, and I can see the potential, but they're not meeting it. And why are they sitting on their hands? I don't know. But long story short, if you're on the fence about getting a Switch 2, I'd probably wait a little bit until there's more of a catalog. If you absolutely cannot wait, DK Bonanza is really good, and I'm sure Metroid Prime 4 is going to be good, and who knows what else is in store. Just expect to wait a long time to really feel like you got your money's worth. But that's going to be it for me for this video. If you really enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and consider subscribing. Let me know how you feel about the Switch 2 down in the comments below. I will catch you guys on the next one.